got you.
Oh,
Yeah,
back.
that's what I want.
They're still a little sweaty.
Just hit brown with the green.
Page 410, questions.
I think we're good.
20. I want to make sure it's the same.
Oh my gosh. 20.
Problem 20.
There's not enough evidence. There you go.
An automobile manufacturer believes that the variance of the gas mileage of its hybrid vehicle is 1.0. You work for an energy conservation agency and want to test the claim. You find that a random sample of gas mileages of 25 hybrid vehicles has a variance of 1.65. At a 5% level of significance, do you have enough evidence to reject the manufacturer's claim? Reading the problem so I don't have to. How this problem goes with all the chatter I hear will decide whether we're taking the test today or not. Because I'm thinking we should just take it today. HO. What's our HO this time?
Variance equals 1.0.
What is variance? What's the symbol?
Sigma squared.
Sigma squared equals 1.0. What else do we need to write there?
Claim.
Good. What's the HA then?
Variance is not equal. 1.2.
When I write that does not equal, what's that tell me that I need to remember for later in the problem? It's what?
Two-tailed.
Two-tailed, good. So when I come down here to draw this, remember for this one, because we're doing chi-squared, the graph looks like that, and if we're two-tailed, we're here and there. What else? What they tell us n was? 25, is that right?
Yeah.
If n is 25, what's df?
24.
24. Next thing we got to make sure we find is alpha. 5%, is that what it was?
Yeah.
5%, 0.05. On your chart, look it up for me on your chart. Remember you're on the chi-squared chart.
36.415.
We look up for this one.
Oh wait, yeah.
For this one, remember we got to look up two of them, right? So
The left one's 17.208.
what do we do with the 0.05 first?
Divide it by 2.
Divide it by 2, so 0.025 and 0.975, and we look up this number with the DF and then this number with the DF. First, what's the first one?
17.208.
0.208. Everybody agree with that? Yes, no, maybe?
4.
No.
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, no.
I got 13.848.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I was reading it wrong.
When you look it up on the thing, we're on the
13 point what?
848.
Everybody agree with that? Looking at your chart.
0.025 at 24. We're
Zero.
on table 6, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
24, 0.025.
I got
That's
39.365.
39.364.
Oh, I thought we were doing the
Well,
smaller one.
so do 0.975, sorry.
975 gives you
12.401.
Yeah.
12.401?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that
I
what we're
learned
going
that
with?
when I got
Yeah, raised it twice.
That's what I got.
Now, no,
Yep.
I'm being a jerk today, Riley, because on the test, you're gonna have 3 chances like we had here. No, you're gonna look at it once and you're gonna write down the wrong thing and it's gonna get marked wrong. And then what's that do to the rest of the problem? It could very well screw the rest of it up. So tell me that again, it was 12.
12.401.
Now look up the 0.025 and the 24.
39.364.
Everybody agree with that one?
Yes.
Boom.
So those are our 2 rejection regions. Next thing we gotta find is our chi-squared value. Our DF is 24 times what was our variance for our sample?
1.65.
Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Do we have to square that?
No, it's a variance.
That's already a variance, so we don't have to square it. If it was a standard deviation, we need to square it. What was the variance for our population? 1.01. Grab your calculator, do all that math. You divide by 1 on your calculator, I'm gonna throw my pen at you. Huh? I know, so why did it? That's all I'm saying.
39.6.
39.6. Anybody else get that? Yes, no, maybe? 39.6. Sometimes when you're doing these, you might have to go out more than one place to make sure where it falls at.
39.6, exactly.
That came out exactly 39.6. Next thing we do, decide whether to reject or fail to reject the null. So we check, see where does this fall at on our graph. Does it fall in the white or the shaded part? Shaded part, everybody agree with that? So what's that tell us?
Reject.
Reject the null. Last thing we do then, write out our interpretation. So with, on test, make sure you're doing this. To make it easy on me to grade, I would like it if you guys would do 1 line, 2 line, 3 line. That's gonna make it easy. Some of my friends that I can't read their writing very well might want to make sure they do that, because then if it makes it easier on me to read it, better chance that you're getting it correct and I'm not messing it up. So with, what was our level of significance? So with 5% level of significance, get out the other chart. I know every single one of them starts with there is. Was our claim the HO or HA? It's the HO, so that's the first column, isn't it? And in that first column, if we reject the null, I think that's the first line, isn't it?
There is enough evidence to reject the claim.
There is enough evidence to reject
It's unfortunate. She just skipped it.
the claim. Then the third thing, tie it to the problem, that the hybrid
Kind of the same. Okay.
variance
Okay,
gas mileage is 1.0. Again, on the test, 1 point here, 1 point for tell them which one's the claim, 1 point here. On your graph here, some of these I make it 3 points instead of just 2, because if it's two-tailed, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just say, heck with it, you just get a point for the whole thing, depends how I feel that moment. But 1 point for the drawing the graph, 1 point for the correct critical values, so that's 2 points there. 1 point for this, the number you're checking. 1 point for deciding whether to reject or fail to reject. Then 3 points here, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points. Everybody handle all that?
Yep.
Other questions? Feeling bad, Joe? Are you? Sorry. Hope you start to feel better.
Joe needs a nap.
Is that what it is? Please stay up all night from this. On the test, the stuff I was gonna print this off, but I didn't. This is what's gonna be on the test. Get rid of this. I didn't put any type 1, type 2 error stuff on the test. I think there might be one on the review packet. We're gonna get rid of it also. First section, I separate these each by section just to tell you. This is section 7.1, there's 5 sections. You write down whatever you want to write down, I'll give you a second to write down what you want. In the first section, all we did was figured out how to find your HO and your HA. Figured out if you're left-tailed, right-tailed, or two-tailed. Also, let's get rid of this. No p-values on the test. We learned what the p-value was, but I didn't put anything on the test because I got rid of it after that first section, so I didn't feel like doing it. Remember to do your interpretation, use that chart. Section 7.2 is where we actually started doing the long problems, and they're basically the same thing over and over again. So when I put this up here, you write down what you want. You probably already got it written down. I think on each one of these I just have the steps. So like the 7 or 8 steps for each one, for each section. They're a little different on each one. That's up to you. However is going to be best for you to look at and remember how to do them. That's completely and totally up to you. So section 7.2, first 5 steps. Number 1, state the HO, HA. Number 2, figure out your alpha. Number 3, use the table, and you might write next to this one if you're writing this down, the little chart. I gotta go back and check and make sure that I didn't screw up, but I think everyone check chart on test. I'll do that here in a second. I think everyone I put on there, 1%, 5%, or 10%, so you can just use that little chart on the front page. Number 5, determine the rejection regions. That's from that. What did I do? Skip one. These all sort of go together. You might just write down 4, draw your little picture. That's like for 3, 4, and 5. Draw your little picture and label it all. Once you have your little thing drawn, you're going to find your Z. Decide whether to reject or fail to reject. And the last thing, interpret. This formula again, just make sure it's Z equals X bar minus mu over sigma instead of sigma sometime. Well, no, that's not. Square root of n. That's for section 7.2. Want me to write down the three things for the interpret part again? You guys can handle it. That's not this kind of tie. All right.
You talking about this chart, the little chart?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing I checked it, because there's one problem on there. I gotta think if I wanna change it or if I wanna make it, because you could also use, unless your name's Phoenix, you can't, and you're messing with your phone. You could also use the big chart to find it. You just use the big chart backwards. That's the interpret again. It's on your charts there. 7.3, same setup. Take null, alternative, identify that, find your degrees of freedom. 4, determine your critical values. This time, instead of using the big chart, we're using the T chart. So you might want to at least write down for section 7.3, remember you're using the T chart, not that little chart on the front. I bet you'll laugh at me when I walk right by it. Yeah, it's got pure power.
You gotta get the flavor. You gotta get the flavor. You gotta start getting some flavor with the water. You get that cooling stuff that you squirt.
That's such high calorie too.
It's like the ones that are 5 calories aren't the ones that are 0 calories. But like flavor packets.
It's usually the 0 calorie stuff.
I get like the Ebersole light tables. Those are like sick.
That's like diet stuff. I don't know, it dries out my mouth, you know, I'm up here talking and just drinking something diet. So make sure on this one you're using the T chart. Again, on the test, I think I put on there like section 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, but small samples, what's a small sample?
Under 30.
So if it's less than 30, then you should know that you're using your T chart or one of the other things after this. Number 5 here. Again, just draw your picture, put the rejection regions on it. Number 6, that's your value. Number 7, decide to reject or fail to reject. Number 8, interpret. Same thing over and over again, just that little change each time on the value, the standardized test statistic that you're testing. Again, I'll rewrite this. That's x bar minus mu on top. On bottom, it's s over the square root of n. Test has 17 problems on it, but each one's got 5 parts, so what's that? 85 problems? Not really. I think there's four or five of these on the test. So 4 or 5 of these long problems, and some of the others are just finding the critical value on the charts and stuff like that. The ones that all of you did for the homework yesterday and then skipped these, the ones that are easy. Joe. All Joes. He doesn't know. Fell asleep already. Next one, section 7.4. Quit working. Number 1, same thing. Number 2, same thing. Number 3, use that. Use the, again, small chart on the front. 3 and 4 sort of go together. You just 3, 4. You just draw on the picture.
Does that say for a proportion?
Yeah. Yeah, my fault. Yeah, remember this is the proportion P. So this is one where you're using P, and when we're doing P, what's our test statistic? P hat, one that everybody, or sorry, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to miss on that. The symbols quiz.
I told you what it was.
It did say name or describe.
And every time we take one of those tests, what have I said?
Name and describe.
I just said, make sure you tell me what it actually is. Don't just tell me a name of it. Don't just tell me that it's a Greek letter. Otherwise, we could just write down it's a Greek letter all the way down through there. For a lot of them, not all of them. I was sort of happy nobody missed dot plot this time. I haven't graded Sean's yet, but nobody missed dot plot. I think that's the first time all year, and it's been on every single one of those.
It just says dot plot on the
It
front.
says
I know that. That's why I'm making such a big deal out of it. Nobody missed it this time.
Sean's gonna be that guy.
It's a scatter plot.
Wait. What is 3, 4's wrong?
Yeah.
3 and
Use
4.
3
just-
is use the chart.
3 and 4 just sort of go together.
Okay. I just had it as.
Draw and use the chart. You just draw in the picture. Oh, that's another thing with these. Remember, we didn't do all this stuff for these because everything is just 1%, 5%, or 10%. So we just use a little chart. I was trying to be nice. Crooked there. I thought you were erasing. I was going to yell at you for erasing. Number 5, again, just number 5 goes right along with the draw. Just making that picture, 3, 4, and 5. Number 6, find your test statistic. Number 7, decide whether to reject or fail to reject. And number 8, again, interpret. Again, for this, I'll rewrite that, and it's Z equals P, P hat minus P divided by, and this one's a little different, it's P times Q divided, square root of P times Q divided by N. That's ugly as could be.
Is N included in the square root?
Yeah,
Or-
N is under the square root also. So remember with this one, unlike the other ones, you probably ought to do the top first, then the bottom, then worry about doing the division on your calculator. The other thing I'll say, how do you find Q? One minus P. So just to make sure you can find Q, it's 1 minus P. Don't worry, Joe, you can come in, if you want to come in 4th block, I don't have a class. I think I'm gonna take a nap today too. So you come in and be really, really quiet in here. I'll be taking a nap in the back room. I'm just messing with you, calm down.
You got like a cot back there, like in that room?
I wish I did.
Would be great to.
I need to put one in that air handler room over there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like the same thing
And,
there.
the bad thing with having it in there is I turn on the radio on the computer and then I can't hear it in that other room, so I need to get rid of some of the junk in my whole office area there and get rid of that other
Yeah, but
desk.
even
and
if
put
you
a
just
cot
kept it in there, you could move that out here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but then anytime somebody knocks on the door or something, and I gotta
Gotta
wake up.
answer.
Yeah, move the bed out.
Yeah, if it's somebody that matters, like Mr. Eiler, he's got a key, so I don't have to answer it. He'll knock and then unlock it himself. And if I'm got my cot laying out here, I might get in a little trouble.
So,
See, so if Mr. Poole walked in, we were just talking about me bringing a cot in here so I could take a nap, and they said I could pull it right out here and just keep the door shut. And I said, no, people got keys.
But yeah, I don't even knock, I just walk through.
That was the weirdest amount of proof I've ever seen.
Mr. Poole might go tell on me. 7-5, last one. Number 1, state the HOHA. Number 2, figure out alpha. Number 3, find your degrees of freedom. Number 4, use table 6. Table 6 was the I-squared chart, correct? To find your critical values, again, because I know I'm confusing all of you. 4 and 5 are all going to go together. You're going to do that. You're going to draw the picture for 4 and 5. Need to go back and redo all those, I guess. Put draw it, label the critical values. You've got to find the critical values in whichever chart. Mr. Poole, was you telling me if I was taking a nap on the cot here?
Would I tell on you? Is it your planned period or are there students in the room?
Playing.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Katie Castillo, I'm supposed to call when she's not here because I guess my class is the first class, so she's absent today. Thank you.
it's like if I said I would go see Mr. Poole, like 9, just in his element. Mr. Poole don't talk one word. He just, he sits in house, he gives you that. Like when he had the little meeting.
I like it. He's literally like.
You used to go to church with him.
Yeah, I know, I was saying, I've done it my whole life.
I got the advantage. I see. I'd still never walk into his room and be like, "Hey, Mr. Bull," because I know I'm gonna get something thrown at me.
This bull hit me with a clipboard. I deserved it. Number 7, or number 6,
Wow,
sorry.
Phoenix.
Number 6, find that. Number 7, that. Number 8, interpret again. The one thing I will say about this formula, remember, if they give you the standard deviation, or if they give you the variance, so remember, if you're dealing with standard deviation or variance, if they give you the standard deviation, then you gotta square the top and the bottom, the little s and the little sigma. If they just give you the variance, then you don't have to square each one. It's just that number. I guess I could be nice and look at this and see which one I get put on the test. Yeah, I shouldn't be that nice, should I?
Yeah, you should.
One on the test is variance, so you don't have to square each one.
There's only one?
Yeah, you want me to put another one on it?
No, I'm just kind of surprised. I'm okay with that.
I have a call for extension 1108.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, 1108.
Just play Portal.
Portal?
Yeah, that's one chick.
Dude, I couldn't get past one part. It was like halfway through the game. I
Me and
couldn't
him would
get
get
past
spoiled too from our library, we'd play it, we'd suck at it,
garbage.
I have a call for extension 1108.
Answer it. Whose extension?
Yeah, you should look it up.
They have an extension to every like teacher in the school. You can call it. I'm pretty sure they have like
On this, we're gonna start working some of these together, so how about your little packet, how about the review packet, how about your calculator? I have them all right in here. Give me 1 second to find my review packet. I read somebody typed something for me the other day and they moved my papers that were laying on that desk back there. I can't find anything. Number 1, HOHA. What's the HO this time? What's the HA? Which one's our claim?
What's good?
Number 2, HOHA.
Mu equals 5.
HO,
Yeah.
claim, or HA, sorry.
Mu does not equal 5.
Didn't ask us to do anything else on this, did they? No. Which one's the claim?
The top one, HO.
They didn't ask us to do this, but this one, left-tailed, right-tailed, or two-tailed? Left-tailed, remember, just look at that, whichever way it's pointing. This one,
Two-tailed.
two-tailed.
Left-tailed.
This one's gonna be left-tailed, you say? HO,
Sigma is greater than or equal to 2.35.
HA,
Sigma is less than 2.35.
which one's the claim?
The HO.
I think get rid of one on yours, then get rid of one on. What? The type 1 error, type 2 error. It's probably still on my PowerPoint too. Next one. A news outlet reports that the proportion of Americans who support plans to order deep cuts in executive compensation at companies that have received federal bailout funds is 52%. You can tell this is fairly old because you guys probably weren't even alive when GM and Ford and all them got bailed out, were you?
We were alive.
Were you alive?
That's 08.
Was it 08?
Because it was with the real estate crisis too.
So you were alive, just like 6 or 7 years old or something?
Like
Three.
four.
Yeah. Alright. So you probably didn't remember,
No.
might have heard your folks, why are they paying those stupid effing, all this money?
My dad still says that whenever he passes like the old one or Dayton, wherever it's at.
State the null and alternative hypothesis. HO and HA, yeah, the old one in Dayton, now is some company out of Japan. What's the null this time? What's our letter? Mu, P, P.
62%.
So is it equal to, less than what?
Equals to 0.6.
Like 6.2, and I think that's the claim, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's our alternative hypothesis?
E is not equal to 0.6.
Part B is not on yours. No, this part B is not on yours. Oh, no, yeah, it is. I did change it. My fault. I need to read. Decide whether it's right-tailed, left-tailed, or two-tailed. Two-tailed. That's part C on mine. That's why I'm confused. Number 5, 5 through 7. Use the given information and the Z table to find the Z values, the critical values. So number 5, we got a right tail test, and you do not have to draw it on this one, but I like drawing it every time. If I have a right tail test, that's here. 0.01 is our alpha, so somebody help me out looking on the little chart on the front. 0.01 if it's right-tailed. What's our critical value? 2.33? Everybody agree with that? Let's jump down to number 7. This is, for this problem, that answer is really all you need to have. All right, you didn't have to draw the picture and everything. Again, I draw the picture every time. We're on a two-tailed. And our alpha is 0.05. There are two critical values. I'll give you a hint. This one over here is negative. 1.96. And then what's the other one? 1.96. 0 in the middle. Everybody agree with those two? Again, all you really had to have are these two answers down here. Negative 1.96, positive 1.96, but I like drawing it. Number 6. Left-tailed. And our alpha is 0.08, which is not on the little chart. So what we have to do for that, something that's not on the little chart, we did some of these. You look up here, you're using your chart backwards, 0.08, figure out what's closest to 0.08, and that's going to be your critical value. We're here, so it's going to be a negative this time.
Negative 1.41.
Everybody agree with that? Negative 1.41? Yes, no, maybe?
Yep.
I don't know, I got this. Negative 1.40.
That's what I got.
But that's 0.008 away, and that's 0.41 and 0.007.
Okay, so this one's just a little bit closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
On my key, I put that I'd accept either answer.
You tell them.
And the driver does it. Next one. The U.S. Department of Agriculture claims that the mean cost of raising a child from birth to age 2 by husband-wife families in rural in those areas. There you go. Is $10,380. A random sample of 500 children aged 2 has a mean cost of $10,240 with a standard deviation of $1,561. At a level of significance of 1%, is there enough evidence to reject the U.S. Department of Agriculture's claim? First part. I should probably get rid of the parts and just make you do the whole problem without me telling you, right?
I like the
HOHA. What'd it say?
Mu equals is 10,240.
240?
Yeah.
Careful.
No, it's 10,380.
Alright, the 240 is our what? Sorry, my thing's in the way, I know. This is for our sample, right?
Oh.
So it's this, is that their claim?
Yeah. No.
It's not? It's not the U.S. Department's claim?
That is.
Not, no, the 1038, 0 days.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about the.
No.
My bad.
So what's our HA?
Mu does not equal 10,380.
Please make sure on the test you don't get confused there. This is their claim, right? That's the one we're testing. So that's what goes in your HO and HA. This is for your sample. That's what we're using to do the test. Find the critical values on the table and the rejection regions. Again, draw it. Left-tailed, right-tailed, or two-tailed? We were at, what was our alpha this time? 1%. So looking at that little chart, 1%. Two-tailed.
2.575.
2.575. 575, what's this side over here? Negative version of it, negative 2.575, sorry, going downhill. Three points here, 2 points here on the test. You guys can look back at the numbers, right? So I don't have to write them down over here to the side. Part C, find the test statistic. That means we're finding the Z. Remember, for this one, it's X bar minus mu over sigma divided by square root of n, I think, isn't it? What was X bar this time? That's the other number.
10,240.
240?
Yeah.
Minus, what was mu?
10,380.
Divided by sigma.
1,561.
Did they tell us sigma?
Well, they told you the standard deviation.
They told you S, right?
Yeah.
So, for the sample, so we just use that, and what was N this time?
500.
500. Again, this top one, I can probably, if you look at this, a lot of times, I would just subtract that and maybe write down that answer here. You can do it probably in your head. Ends up being like a negative 140, is that correct? And then you can type that into your calculator and put parentheses around that whole bottom and divide it. What's it end up the Z is?
I got negative 2.01.
Anybody else get that? Negative 2.01. Brian, that's what you got? You didn't lie to us, would you?
Well, I got 2.005.
We in agreement then? Decide whether to reject or fail to reject. I don't have my picture up here. You guys have your picture there on your paper, hopefully.
That's not in the.
It's not in the rejection region, so what's that tell us? Fail to reject. No, I'll say it one more time. It's the last time I'm saying it. Don't get lazy on me on this test, because I will mark it wrong and you will be highly upset with me. I've been pretty good this whole chapter, Riley, about writing everything out, haven't I? Interpret your results. I don't have space on my board there, so I'm gonna write this over here. What do we start off with?
With a 1% level of significance.
All right, slow down. With 1%
Yeah.
level of significance. Then we go to the chart. I know each one starts off with there is. Not enough evidence to reject the claim. Does everybody agree with that? Because I'm not looking at my chart. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Riley's not looking at his either. He told us last time he's got it memorized.
Yeah.
That's right. Claim that, and you could put in
The mean.
whatever there.
The mean cost of raising a child from birth to
Mean cost of raising child 0 to 2 is how much?
10,380.
This time, bro. I lied to you. I was like 10 off. wanna go on, or you guys tired of hearing me talk?
We don't have to.
You guys can handle it?
Think so.
Any of them that anybody wants to see to make sure? Got one, Joe, don't be afraid to ask, just because all your peers don't go in for all that peer pressure.